welcome back. So today I wanted to try something a little bit different, and rather than doing my whole face of makeup, I thought I would do a little snippet of a tutorial on my go-to eyeshadow technique. Now this is a pretty granular video where I really get down into the nitty-gritty of doing this eyeshadow technique, so if you are already, an expert at makeup, this video probably isn't for you, but if you are interested in how I do this kind of eyeshadow, just carry on watching. Oh, I wanted to quickly mention that if I look a little bald in the eyes right now, it's because I haven't got any mascara on yet, because I wanted to make a video purely on this eyeshadow technique. Okay, so if you look really closely at my eye here, you can see that the outer corner of that eye kind of points downwards a little bit rather than pointing up towards my eyebrow. So the idea behind this technique is to actually enhance the shape of my eye to make it look like it's elongating in this direction rather than drooping down at the ends. This for me is particularly a problem when I smile. As you can see, these outer parts kind of like droop down. So this is just my go-to technique to lift and enhance those eyes. Now with this simple technique, you can pretty much substitute in any color that you fancy. So if you want green eyes or purple eyes, just go nuts. But for the purpose of this demonstration, I thought I would stick with a really simple color palette, like this gorgeous little palette of neutrals. And I'm actually going to be using my bronzer as well, purely because I love that on the crease. I think it blends out really nicely, especially given my skin will be exactly the same color tone. It just really works for me. And then I'm also going to be using a simple brown liner with one of these little smudger sponges on the end. So the basic idea of this is that you start with the lighter colors and you gradually build with the darker. So what I'm going to do is start with this ivory kind of color here, and I'm going to pick up a pretty dense but pretty big brush just because I want to pat that onto my lid. Now while I'm doing this, I'm kind of going in towards the inner corners of my eye, but I'm not bringing it all the way out towards the outer corners because that's where the darker colors are going to sit. Now I'm going to pick up that same ivory color with a much smaller brush, and what I want to do is pat that into the inner corners and bring it down into under my eyes as well. Now one little tip that I like to do here is I actually like to kind of blend that out onto the corners of my nose a little bit as well. I think it just gives the effect of a slightly thinner nose if it looks like your eye goes all the way onto it. And then I also like to just gently fan that out, not too much, but gently fan that out down there so that it covers any dark circles and it's like a smooth transition from the light to the under eye. And now with a blending brush, I'm just gonna go over that and make sure everything's smooth and blended. So you can see immediately by putting some light color in the inner corners of my eyes, it immediately gives me a bit more of an awake and alert look. I look less tired because you can't see the little dark circles under my eyes so much anymore. So already winning. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is grab my bronzer. You can also take a shade of eyeshadow that's kind of similar to this and a big blending brush. And basically what I'm gonna do is carve out my crease, but I'm not going to follow the line of my crease on this side. I'm gonna go from the crease here to basically following my brow bone. So that's where I want to go, and I'm going to bring it out in an upwards direction rather than down here towards where my crease actually goes. Now with the darker colors, you always start on the outside and just tap that on there and blend it towards the inside. So you see how I'm buffing that out kind of well beyond my eye? This is why I like to use a bronzer, because it then essentially ends up mixing with the tones of my face. And this means that it's just gonna elongate the line of my eye there. Now you can see here, if I show you where my crease actually is, this is kind of slightly above it. So it's more my brow bone that I've just elongated out to there. And if I look at you straight on, it looks like it's on my crease, but it's actually above. Now next I'm gonna take a small smudging brush and the exact same bronzer, and I'm actually just going to tap that shade under my eye there, just to blend out that, see that little pocket of fat that I've got there? I want to cover that. Now I'm not bringing that shade to the inner corners of my eye because I'm going to keep that highlight color there. So I'm going to stop just before my pupil starts. And then on the outside here, I'm actually going to go across the outer part of my eye and pivot that upwards. See how I've just kind of tapped across that to meet that top bit there. I just realized I keep getting really close to the camera and being like, ooh. So I'm really sorry about that. Now this obviously looks a little bit strange, but you can see I've just skipped across that crease there. And now I'm going to blend that in with the top shade. And it's pretty much my guide as to where the eyeshadow needs to stop. So now what I want to do, see that outer triangle there, how there's like a light gap there? I'm going to color that in a darker shade. So with a bit of a tighter blending brush, I'm just going to pick up this brown here and just tap that into that outer triangle, right down onto the lid. I'm now just going in with the brush that I used to apply the bronzer and just blending out the edges a little bit so it all looks really nice and smooth, like a nice gradient. So now that I've got my basic shadow down, you can use pretty much any eyeliner that you like. You can go black, or I'm just gonna go with the brown today. But basically what I wanna do is go from the center of my pupil and then bring that liner to about there. So a couple of inches above the outer corner of my eye. Inches, a couple of millimeters. So for me, the easiest way to do that, see how I've just drawn like a little bit of a dash there? That's kind of the guide for me as to where I want that liner to end up. Now that is perfectly in line with the lower part of my eye. So if that were to just continue on and reach my eyebrow, that's where I'm drawing. Now that part, I can literally just connect and start coloring in towards, I guess, the outer part of my pupil. Now I don't want this to be like a strong, fierce wing, so I'm going to use the little smudging part on the back and just kind of smudge that smooth. Now that I've got that roughly down, I'm a huge fan of using eyeshadow as eyeliner because I just feel like it falls into the lash line a little bit easier. So I'm gonna take a really tiny little brush and pick up that same dark color and just trace over that again and blend it out a little more. And I'm just popping that brown liner in the lower waterline as well. So that's my take on the classic lift eyeshadow technique. Now, I know it's a super basic technique, but I did want to make a video where I just get a little bit granular and show you exactly what I'm doing when I do my eyeshadow, because I feel like sometimes when I do my full tutorial, I don't get into the nitty-gritty as much because, you know, nobody wants to sit there for 45 minutes watching me do my makeup. So I gotta speed it up. But yeah, so basically this was just a little bit of a bite. I wanted to focus on eyeshadow today. Obviously you can substitute any other colors with this basic technique. So the lighter colors open up your eyes, and then you just kind of want to pivot everything upwards to make you look that beautiful, enhanced, lifted eye sort of shape. So this is what I do really regularly. I hope you found this somewhat helpful. I'm sure a lot of you are well beyond this, but let me know if you found this helpful and if you'd like to see other videos like this. Now, essentially, I'm not done now. What I would normally do is apply some mascara to this, but I want to film another video where I apply lashes. So if you're interested in seeing the next step of this, then just go watch that video. Do let me know if there are any particular techniques or areas of the face that you'd like me to try and make a video like this on, because I'll give it a crack for you. But for now, I'll see you next time. Bye.